recording this meeting, please notify me by raising your hand, either in person or remote, and I will notify the public for the Massachusetts public meeting laws. Do we have anyone who's making a recording today? And your name, please? Great, from the Enterprise? Yeah, perfect, thank you. Let me just confirm that hands are here. So we'll begin with the mission and vision. Kelly.
Our vision is that Falmouth Public Schools creates world-class student learning experiences. Our Clippers are empowered to pursue their goals with curiosity, integrity, and resiliency. Our vision is that Clippers are creative, inquisitive, and engaged learners who participate in their community as socially responsible citizens. Clippers effectively communicate and solve problems that impact the world around them.
Great, thank you, Kelly. And Terry for the fishbowl.
Okay, we have new colors this year, maroon and gray, or in white, or hot. Okay. This is, the question is, what is going well in your school? What do you like most about your school? This is from Lily, who is in grade 10 at Falmouth High School. I like where my classes are and my teachers so far. I also have some friends in my classes. All right, good for Lily. Maroon. What would make your school life better? This is from Emily, who's in 4th grade at T-Ticket. If we had longer art, that would make school life better.
Thank you, Lily and Emily. Public comment. Members of the public are welcome to speak about items that are not on the agenda. Comments should be limited to 2 minutes in length. Due to the open meeting law, there will be no debate or action taken on public comment items. For items on the agenda, the chair may accept comments from the public following the committee's discussion of an item. Additional comments and feedback can also be submitted by email to schoolcommittee@falmouth.k12.ma.us. Do we have any public comment, either in person or remote? I'm proud of that, but I see our hands.
I need to prompt people to raise their hand.
Yep, and if you are remote, thank you, Ryan. If you're remote, if you'd like to raise your hand for public comment. In a few moments. Okay, seeing none, we will move to the first item on our agenda, which is the presentation from Convocation 2022. Lori.
Yes, thank you. So I'm very excited. We are continuing to build our commitment to excellence with the Clipper experience. And tonight we are going to share with you, the school committee and our community, our convocation presentation. I'm going to turn it over now to our two MCs, Dr. Sonia Tellier and Spencer Brown.
Sorry, we're back there.
Okay.
I don't know, can they see me? Over here, there,
Actually, get as close as you can.
Mr. Roder, are you going to see me?
If you're ready for it.
We are ready for it.
I'm not on Zoom. I figured it was only not attached.
All right, just one second.
We'll try and get started while you fill that out. All right. So Spencer and I have the great fortune to share with you a little bit of a high-level overview of the presentation. But truly, you can see the team who's here to share with you the depth of the presentation. So Spencer and I were able to come together and kind of think our way through, and we want to show how everything that we're doing in the district is connected to create the Clipper experience when we talk about #I'm a Clipper. And so we look across our focus on teaching and learning, and we get into the depth of our work through social emotional learning, community, and diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And all of that learning, like as we know, we start from the very beginning, like in elementary school. And now that I'm a senior in high school, I feel like that vision of a graduating Clipper is really something special that I can see that I've grown into. And I'm sure the same can be said for many other seniors, especially after having a very difficult couple of years with COVID. So seeing how our community was resilient was really special to see, because it showed that we were still willing to put forth the effort, and it was nice to see that our teachers wanted to do well for us and made us want to do well for them.
So when work that started with our administrative council, we've developed a graphic to try and pull everything together. At the center of what we do is charting the course to graduation, our vision of a graduate, from the time that they begin enrollment with us at age 3 through graduation or age 22, depending on the path our students take in their enrollment with us. It's at the center of the work that we do, but it is grounded by all of the other undertakings, and it reminds us that everything together is one vision, one complete initiative, and it's about the success of our students and the outcomes that they experience. So what do you think, Spencer? Should we bring some others up?
I think that would be lovely.
All right, so we're gonna begin with social emotional learning. I'm gonna turn my spot over to Mr. McMenamin.
And I will turn mine over to Anthony Celeste.
Excellent.
Hello, Falmouth Public Schools. I'm Anthony Celeste, and I'm a junior at Falmouth High School, and with me is Mr. Mack, one of our assistant principals. This evening, we want to share some highlights on the district's work around social emotional learning.
Thank you very much, Anthony. As we come together and we consider everything that everyone's been through over the last 3 years, we know that looking at the whole person is essential to their success. The work of our educators, we all know, has been nothing short of heroic in that regard.
As we look across all our schools, we've seen how much of a priority this has become. The increased number of counselors, the commitment to programs like Bridging Connect, and the work we've started using Aperture Education and the DESA Screener are just a few examples that highlight this important topic.
Looking at how the circles in the graphic you just saw intersect is at the heart of this work. While efforts like restorative practices, if you're studying it, you'll see are really highlighted under diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. It's clear that there's a connection between building relationships, knowing our students and each other, and our path forward.
We know our educators care about us, and we want them to know that it's okay to tell us that. This can start on the first day with simple steps like greeting us at the door, asking us about our interests and our pronouns. And when you don't know how to pronounce our names, don't be afraid to ask us. Each one of these small pieces adds up to creating a classroom that is safe, trusting, and supportive, in a place where we can learn.
We all know that this job involves just as much heart as it does head. Let's all keep this in mind as we move through this year, keeping both our positivity and our flexibility at the center of this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's much tighter than the stage.
Area. But I really like how Mr. Mack and Anthony pointed out about how it takes both teachers and students to really make that relationship compatible and worthwhile during our years at Falmouth Public Schools, because I can say I'm not the same person I was in first grade when I first came here. And teachers, I've had like go to my guidance counselors for certain help because that's just what I needed. And it never felt like I had to be scared to reach out or anything because I knew that those people were there for me and I could trust them. And that was a really good relationship to have with the people in this community.
So as we're talking about all of the supports that we provide our students and giving them space to be successful and to discover their true identity, I think one of the things that stands out for us is that it's across instruction, and so being able to access learning and being able to bring forward not just best practices and support for academics, but for helping them to see themselves socially, civically, responsibly in the identity of what it means to be a Clipper. So as we continue through and we look at how everything intersects and we start to talk about identity, we want to elevate the conversation about our community. So Spencer, I'm going to bring out Mrs. Vieira.
I'm gonna bring out student council member, no, sorry, that was the right. Okay. My apologies, Shinulu, who is just as amazing. Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Shin Yu, and I'm a sophomore this year. Today, I am partnered with Ms. Vieira, the principal of North Falmouth Elementary School, to talk about community.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone. So as you know, the saying goes, it takes a village. And this statement really does capture the work that we do in the community. And, you know, in the end, it really is the shared responsibility of everyone in the community, our communities within our schools, our student communities. And it's our responsibility to extend our educational bounds and beyond the classroom walls. And tonight, Shanyu is going to share an experience with you of experience that she had to really highlight the connection with community.
So I was invited to be in the Stellar Stories, which was an event that students could tell a story about themselves. And we worked with a woman named Cheryl Hamilton who helped us edit and revise our story. And we spent most of our time doing our story during ALD classes and like partially after school. And we worked hard on revising our story so we could like so we could present it to people. And even my mom came in and helped me with my story. I was very lucky to be able to tell my story on the stage and also share it one night.
The same. We want all students to fully experience that Falmouth is our beloved community.
So in a community where some cannot achieve, is it truly beloved? In a community where teachers and students are struggling, is it truly beloved? So these t-shirts are our vision. We haven't achieved it yet, but because we love our community, this is our call.
So we want to take things a little higher this year, and from now on, our work in our school district is to remove any barriers that of all aspects of learning in our community, so that we can all say Falmouth is our beloved community.
So what can we do now to achieve this beloved Falmouth? This is not additional work, this is the work. So promote diversity in the classroom by sharing upcoming cultural events such as Juneteenth Freedom Walk or Pride Month or Women's History Month. Promote belonging in school buildings by checking in on your students and making them feel heard. And seek inclusion by asking people about their cultural backgrounds. So meet students where they are as they are. Be welcoming, be supportive, be kind, be open-minded, be there for your students, and be an ally.
Thank you.
So I really like, especially Mr. St. Julian A&T kids, because I know probably several of you have heard this probably at rehearsal, but if you don't know, I'm an out trans fan, which just means I was assigned female at birth, and then later on I said, nope, actually. And I don't know, it was just that fear of really coming out to myself too, because I was like, oh, new name, new pronouns, how is it all gonna work? But all my teachers were so welcoming, even when I hadn't officially changed my name in the system, they still used it with my peers and in all my assignments. And it was just really nice to know that I didn't have to worry about it as much as I did, because we have such an awesome community here that is so welcoming and open to diversity and inclusion. So I can say that Falmouth is my beloved community because I get to live as my beloved self.
Thank you for your honesty in speaking to your identity and who we are as a community of those who care and those who support you and those who very much value your ability to be comfortable in your identity, as we do for all of our students. And as we think about our work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really fostering that sense of belonging, everything comes back to tying into these successful outcomes of our students and their ability to see themselves beyond their life as a Clipper as they move forward into the world of work, continued schooling. And so I think it's really important that we zero in on teaching and learning. And I think we have a special guest speaker who wasn't with us at Convocation. So let's welcome in Aiden G. Can Dad speak with you?
Sure.
Hello, Falmouth Public Schools. I'm Hayden Bushy, a 5th grader in Morris Pond. I'm here with Mr. Bushy, principal of the Lawrence School. This evening, we want to share some encouraging words and highlights on the district's work around teaching and learning.
Thanks, Peyton. Welcome to the 22-23 school year, everyone. We recognize that every day teachers and staff members are working hard to prepare all students for the future as they work towards graduation and the vision of a graduate.
It's important for learners and teachers to grow socially, mentally, and physically. As FPS teachers, students thank you for your efforts.
Establishing your classroom as learning communities is key. The relationships we build early will allow kids to soar over the course of the year.
Encourage students to voice their own opinion and ask questions to become active members of the classroom.
Utilize your time-tested strategies, the impactful and effective lessons that have looped in kids over the years, but take some bold risks with new and innovative strategies that really engage the broad range of learners in your classroom.
In other words, do something exciting right away.
For years, Falmouth has been building its reputation as a world-class public school district. Thank you to all of you for your ongoing efforts and contributions. It's great to be in Falmouth, and it's going to be a great year.
Go Clippers!
So as Peyton and Mr. Bushy said, teaching is ultimately what makes a school district schooling, really. And it's definitely, I can show, as I talked about before, the effort that teachers have really been putting in to make every day just a little bit fun for their students, keeping open minds in the classroom, saying, it's okay if you have a bad day, maybe something we do today will help lift your spirits just a little bit. And that's something really special because in that classroom environment, you know, you're okay to ask questions, you're okay to not get stuck, you're not wrong for not understanding something. You just gotta maybe need a little more time. And that's like, because we're all different, we all learn differently, and everyone teaches differently too. So it's all just about that relationship between our learning and between your teaching. And I think that's a pretty cool relationship to have.
So as we look at everything coming together and the strength and the depth of the foundation on which teaching and learning rests, when the graphic goes live, deep appreciation to Mr. Weber for putting it up on the website. The circles that we showed you earlier, each has an underline title. That underline is a hyperlink that takes you into more information about each of them and offers some curated resources to really help understand some of the depth around each of those. So social emotional learning, where it's underlined, if you click on that, It'll take you further in, and that's true for each of the circles, including taking you deeper into our vision of the graduate. So I think before everything comes to a close, we want to offer it back to Mr. St. Julian for a few final words. Ms. Spencer, thank you again for being my fellow student. I love doing it. Awesome.
So we hear a lot of, yeah, we're gonna have students in here, we're gonna have students coming by me, you guys can come behind me. We've been saying a lot that Falmouth is my beloved community, and we see that a lot of people have the t-shirts, and the work of equity is not a one-person job. Just because I have the title, that does not mean that I am the only one. We have principals, we have students, we have school committee members that could be doing the job. And so we want to make sure that we're all we're going to be doing, we're going to meet the kids where they are, as they are, where they are, as they are. That's how we're going to teach them. So now, what's the power behind this? What's really the motion that's going to keep us doing this? And I just love beloved. And right there is in red, love, and that's going to be the powerhouse of this. And I'm just going to, one of our best educators, the late Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, said this: love is not a state of perfect caring. It is an active noun like struggle. To love someone is to strive to accept people exactly the way they are, right here, right now. And that's what we're asking. So we're asking that you join us in this equity work by answering a few questions. Now I have some students here that have some questions for you. Hey, you want to start us off? Do you want to start? You have a question for it? You have a question for it? You have a question for Mrs.
Miss Souza, do you love students?
Absolutely.
Ms. Keith, do you think our Falmouth is a beloved community?
I do.
Ms. Medeiros, do you think that Falmouth has the best teachers, students, and staff to make Falmouth into a
All
beloved
three are
community?
right on top.
Thank you.
Ms. Welch, do you accept a person exactly the way they are, right here and now?
Absolutely.
Okay, I have a couple people to answer. Mr. Dorfno, Ms. Thorold, and Ms. Canopoulos, are you ready for an equity journey here in Falmouth schools?
To all of our students who joined us, and to Miles Peterkin, who also spoke with us at convocation and couldn't be here this evening.
Thank you.
So much.
Love that. Any questions or comments about the convocation presentation? That was amazing. Comment.
Seen it the first time live as well. I'll just tell you that the teachers in the room were so excited at the end of this, and the t-shirts were being thrown out. I mean, jumping up in the air, just like the energy was incredible. It was great.
Thank you for that. Good job. I love seeing the kids. This is like the best parts of the meeting. We do have an audience, hand is up. Elle Hart.
Hello, I'm Larissa Hart. I teach graphics at Falmouth High School. And I just want to say that convocation was wonderful, and it was so nice to see the students and all of you up there. I would like to make a reminder that I would like to see the teachers met where they are. A lot of teachers are struggling with equity and with making ends meet. And I know that there will be a discussion soon on how the school committee can meet the teachers union's requests. And I just thoroughly and heartily encourage you to think about the equity that our teachers deserve. Thank you for taking my comments.
Thank you, Larissa. Okay. Let's Seeing other, next on our agenda is the presentation of equity vision. Mr. St. Julian.
I am on again. Ryan, is that,
You ready to go?
you're ready to go?
Fingers crossed, we don't have the exhaust.
We don't have that. I was really trying to decide whether we're gonna chuck the t-shirts at you or not. We decided not to. I'm struggling because I'm a person that likes to be innovative, get up and get you guys to do some stuff. So this is my reduced activity here. So here's my thinking. Let me just move. So we're gonna talk about Falmouth is my beloved community. And what I want to get right in the first aspect of trying to work is awareness. This is the aspect of awareness. You know who I am, so we can move on from there. So I love, I'm a history teacher. That's for 22 years, that's what I did. And Abraham Lincoln had a task to do and an incredible crisis that was going on. And I love this, in the middle of that crisis, I love this statement. He said basically, the dogma of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, we must think anew, we must act anew, we must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. And I think that's a very equitable situation. What was going on in the past? We talk about, the way things were. There are new changes. Our community is changing. Our school is changing. And so how do we attack it? We really need to start thinking about new ways. And I feel like the aspect of equity needs to be rethought of. The cost of not doing equity is important as well, because reading a book from Reinventing Diversity, it basically says this: people are beginning to understand that our separateness, that's the opposite of equity. Our separateness has an enormous cost in terms of productivity, teamwork, and effectiveness. And so if we are not going to be doing the work of equity, what we're striving for is this cost of separateness. And what you see, all those kids in there, we want to bring everyone together. And so that's what we're thinking of. So you saw, I already did my presentation. You saw different elements of what I had, and I don't want to reinvent this. I'm going to ask for a little participation, maybe, possibly. We talked about this last time. Next slide. Could we consider someone here? Tell me, what does this vision mean to you? What is it that what does it mean to be beloved in this community? What and we'll talk about problems. What I want to just hear from I like when people ask me and I ask them back, what's your vision? What does it mean to you when you hear this statement? What does that come out to? What's something that's coming up? I give you a t-shirt, you better. Yes.
Okay, well, I grew up in this community.
Yes.
And I just love it. I mean, I'm forever saying Falmouth has the best Main Street on the
Yes.
Cape, and all this stuff. And I just would like other people to get that spark. Because, I mean, I know, I don't even have to think about it, that Falmouth is a great place. And I hope everybody who's here can feel that.
Exactly. I love it. And some people, we may need to do extra. We may have to lean into them because they don't know, they don't have the years and experience that you have. So we may have to figure out how do we get them to that point. So that's the word. Anyone else have what does it mean, beloved community? What does that mean to you? I love this. Yes.
So sometimes I try to parallel our community with an extended family. And sometimes we have to love people a little bit more, and sometimes you have to keep people at a little bit of a distance, but you still love them anyway.
Yep.
And I truly think and truly feel that Falmouth is not just our community, but I consider it an extension of our family. I truly, when you say beloved, I think that it's possibly the word that I've had in my head and not even thought that that's the word that I needed to describe our community and how well we come together and how we care for each other and all of the wonderful things like Main Street, like all of it.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. That's excellent. Excellent. So Yep, yes,
Well, you know,
please.
I think of, there's actually a scripture, beloved, let us love one another.
Beautiful.
And there are a lot of people who absolutely love this community.
Mhm.
All they want, especially, you know, the kids in the community, they just want to be loved back. And I think
Yes.
they said that earlier, as much as they love their community. So being a beloved community is that reciprocal love that's given no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter whose they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, giving that back is that our community is not always gonna be perfect, but it's ours.
Mhm.
And that's what I think.
I love that. And I think in a family, going back to that family scenario, you have all these kids and there are kids, and you know that some of your children you love one way, and you have to know another child you love another way because of who they are. And so we have to, it's not equality, it's more equity. I know I love you, so my son had to be told constantly, my daughter knew, but I had told him another way. So there was always that difference. So that difference doesn't mean the standard's different, it's just who they are, and that's how we communicate. And the barrier is, what might be a barrier to this? It might be another topic, but I'm gonna show you that barrier to that, beloved, in this little. So the barrier is this. I love how you said that I'm going back to Darius. I love that you know you've been in this community for a long time, and this community has become your culture, has become everything you breathe. Your culture is everything that you consume, the way you think, the way you act, the way you believe. This is a system, a set, and that is your culture. And some people say, I don't have a culture, but it is. When you come in and you go to another country, you see there's a different culture. And it is the predominant force that shapes our values, behaviors, institutional policy, and practice. That's our culture. Someone comes into our community, they may not have that culture. And so how do you love somebody who does not have that culture? That's the actor. How do you do that? And so, and also another thing is that our culture serves people in different degrees. Someone that has been here all their lives, generations, they're going to receive a cultural impact different from someone that's brand new, someone coming into your culture. And so those are things I want to make sure that we understand how powerful culture is, and that sometimes you can't even see outside your culture. It's part of you. It's everything that you believe. And so now, if we're teaching, we're a class, and we are going to teach all our kids, and some of them are not part of our culture, what is it that we need to do? What is it that we need? And that's the question. So here's a little, I haven't done this. If we had time, here's a little bit, quick 2 minutes. I just want to show this, and then we can talk about it, and then I'll be done. Okay, thank you, sorry. Thank you for being here. Oops. Wait a second.
We're going to place a sticker on your forehead. In complete silence, stand up and group yourselves. Okay, are we grouped? Yeah, for the most part? All right, what just happened?
There's 2 people alone that is not in our group.
So there's 2 people that you've identified that's not in our group. For the folks who are in green or in orange, how did it feel to do this?
I felt sort of like I had no control over it, yeah.
Yeah, so you felt like you had no control over it, yeah.
I personally think it was more comfortable to be in a big group than to be like in a group alone.
For my 2 folks in the back, how did it feel for you to do this?
It was weird. I was like, I don't know what part I was, like which group I was with.
I guess it was okay.
So did anyone attempt or try to bring them into their group?
I thought about it.
You thought about it?
I sent him away.
She did! Why did you do that? I wanted him to be here. I don't like people being alone.
It's interesting, right? Because I never asked anybody to group themselves by color. I just said to group yourselves, right? The group decided, all of you decided to do this. I never said by color.
How can you kind of like avoid this happening at your school?
Yeah, you could try to make friends with that person or
walk with that person so they don't feel so alone.
An invitation is a powerful thing. So even if you invite someone and they're not ready, continuously just being consistent with someone could ultimately result in them saying, yeah, sure, I will join you. We're gonna do this again, right? So group yourself.
In silence.
In silence. Just group yourself. All right, are we grouped?
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But what I think you kind of see is that the dot represents some certain culture. And it's very comfortable to unite with your own culture. It's very comfortable to, oh, we've been here. All of a sudden, this is our culture. I'm with the green, I'm whatever. And it's very, it's comfortable. And to break out of it is hard. Something had to happen. Someone had to come out and say, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And kind of like stop them and say, think about it. And there's a bias when you're with a certain group. And even though that person in culture goes, oh, I really wish I could do something better, but it's still something hard for them because they're in the culture. Someone has to come up and say, hey, let's do something different. And did you see when they call them out, what did they do? Let's group together. What happened? They all came together. Oh, that's beloved. What can we do? That was simple, but what is it that we can do to call out our bias, to check ourselves and say, yes, I love this culture, but can I see the other person? That's what we're asking. We're not taking anything away. We're asking people to come and get together. And so what I have, Ryan, what I have is, what I have is just, I'm gonna leave you with these 4 things. First, check your bias. I did this. Harvard University has a great test, and it's just a mirror of who you are and see where you're at. But if you Google Harvard University implicit test and you just check your bias, and they give you like a whole mess of different tests, and you can say, where am I where's my bias? And mine is never good. Let me just say, I have bias. I do. I have to check it. I have to look at it. One of those, oh, they're not here. One of those students checked me. I knew it. I had something that I made a mistake and she checked me. And said, oh, I had my bias. It was perfect. And I love that she was able to do that for me. Another one is affirm diversity. You got to go to the other person, the other circle. Go to the other color. We have to look and explore other cultures, people who are not like us. And that's something that to help us grow as an individual. So 2, let's look at other cultures. Let's celebrate them. Let's have different cultures all around this room. And we're like, oh my goodness, seeing all those kids, different cultures come in. That was exciting. Reject this color blindness. Don't say, I don't see color, because then you don't see me. You don't say, I don't see color, you don't see students. You say, I don't see black, right? You don't see that student, because who I am happens to be a black man. That's who I am. So you say, I don't see color, you just took a lot out of, any part of, and there might be some identity that some students have, and you saw a lot of them in there, they have that identity. Never say, put that down. We're going to teach, we're going to meet them where they are at the other. Reject that colorblindness. And lastly, I'm glad we're doing this. Let's support this vision. Find out what that means. I don't know what it all means. I need a community determined to what that means here. But let's find out. Let's have that community. I love those kids. Let's group them together. They all came together. Boom. In education, let's make sure we all have that standard. Let's ace those exams. Let's make sure we do well in those exams. That's the work of equity. We're going to try to get the best world-class education by making sure all students succeed. That's it.
School committee, any questions or comments for Hannah?
Go ahead. I think I could listen to you speak all day. Could you go to every school every day and give just like a morning lecture?
You hear my voice from the hallways. I scream. They're like, Haley, be quiet.
Thank you.
So I know that our goals aren't until later, but it just, having you like in full swing in your new role just feels like we're finally moving, which feels so incredible because, the intent has been there, but we've been slow. And I think it was just a lack of, organization and direction. So thank you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what's next.
Any other questions, comments from school committee? Okay, as always, Henry, thank you so much. Okay, next on our agenda was to act on a memorandum of agreement for FEA, and I make a motion to table the memorandum of agreement for FEA. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Melissa, and it's a roll call vote, I believe, Mike Keelan. We have two people on Zoom, so we're going to do a roll call vote. So Mike.
Yeah, Halen, yes.
Leah.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Kelly.
Welch, yes.
Dorfner, yes.
Jerry Rivers, yes.
Andrea Cole, yes.
Let's keep yes.
Susie, yes.
Natalie Cantalopoulos also yes, so that has been tabled. Next, act on school committee goals 2022, 2023. I'm going to turn this over to Andrea for an introduction, then we'll have a motion and then a conversation discussion. So Andrea.
I just wanted to kind of let everybody know, because from our last meeting, then people were sending individual comments to me that I was collating. Just as an overview for anybody in the public who might be listening, these are the goals for the school committee for this year. We have been undertaking multi-year goals. So 2 of these are continuations with some adjustments in them, and then we have a new goal that's been added. You'll also notice that the information that everybody sent in to Natalie about what goal you're going to be part of the lead for, that is at the end. So those groups are on there. And again, those leads are just for making sure we're moving the work along, for our updating, which we tend to do quarterly-ish. And you always get a heads up that that's coming, but we're all responsible for the work for all of these goals. There's just be somebody who's going to be bringing things back to the full group for either voting on something or organizing something. So if you're the lead on that goal and something has bubbled up, definitely get that back to Natalie so that can be added to an agenda for us all to discuss.
Perfect, thank you, Andrea. Oh, is there
Okay,
anything else?
I just want to
Yes,
go
ahead.
through the items.
Yeah.
So again, we're voting on the goals itself. And there were no edits to those from our last meeting, just so everybody is aware of that. For some of the other pieces, there has been, for goal number 1, there was, one of the bullets was deleted. You may have noticed. There were some suggestions from the group for how to finesse that, but I think what we decided is to leave that to the leads to discuss about what are the best communication delivery for agendas and minutes. We know we want to be getting that out to as many people in the community as possible, but instead of trying to put something specific right now, we'll let the leads make some decisions on that and bring that back to the group. On the second one, there were some edits for clarity on some of our new subcommittees that we're sitting on that relate to our goals. There was a comment to make sure that we're actively participating, so I've made that tweak. But again, those were basically tweaks to that language for clarity. And then on the last one, there were some additional comments that were made that I did not include, but they were really good. In particular, to remember that everything that we're doing with safety for our buildings is always within some confines of protecting confidentiality. So we'll just make sure that we're all aware of that and make sure that we're making the public aware that we're paying attention to this, and we'll try to bring as many presentations to school committee meetings, but there are levels of information that we just won't disclose for the safety of our buildings and our students.
That's great. Okay, thank you for that intro, it's perfect. So is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the school committee goals for 2022-23.
And is there a second? And any questions, comments, or further edits? Carrie.
The only thing I would say about the communication measures of success is that I don't think we should say minutes about anything. It should be comments because minutes kind of seems official. And just to make it maintain its informality.
So this is the revised version, does not have,
I know, but Andrea said minutes when she was talking. That's, and
Oh.
my ears perked right up at that.
Okay.
because Just hammer that home that it's to make it be informal, but obviously, some way in a timely manner, a listing of things and comments that would be shared with the superintendent, of course.
I just wanted to throw out there about minutes is that there were some kind of comments about our meeting minutes, getting that out to the community, and we could, one of the things that we might say is that we provide a link to where they're posted at the town. So we wouldn't be doing anything additional to our standard meeting minutes.
Okay.
any other questions? Oh, Melissa.
So I actually had a very similar comment that Ms. Maderas just made about striking a word minute and using comments. And I do realize that it's in the updated version, but I thought it prudent to mention it only because Andrea mentioned the word minutes, not comments. I also appreciate, Andrea, you saying that perhaps we're not going to, or perhaps we're going to have the leads decide how the communication gets out. I'm super protective of the people that come to us in certain listening sessions, and their confidence is paramount to me. I try very hard to keep, when people come to me, whether it be student, staff, community member, parent, or whomever, I am extraordinarily protective of who they are while still getting their message across, and I still want to have freedom to do that, I guess. So I appreciate you saying that perhaps the leads can decide on how the communication gets out, because we can definitely discuss that. But I really feel like I need to say that when people come to us in confidence, that we keep their confidence so they continue to trust us. And then I also appreciate not putting the comments just directly on Facebook, but to have a link to the webpage. I think that having that just would be a little bit clearer. We do that for other items, and I feel like we don't need to spell it all out when it can be posted and followed through.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the table. So we will do a roll call vote. Mike Halen,
Halen, yes.
Leah Palmer,
Leah Palmer, yes.
Welch, yes?
Bill Dorfner, yes.
Jeremy Harris, yes.
yes.
Melissa Keith, yes.
Thank you. Now, Canelopoulos also yes. Very exciting. We'll get started on our goals. Next is an update by the superintendent.
Thank you. So I have some exciting things tonight. First, I want to talk about the professional development session that we had on September 1st with our staff. It was so exciting. One of the features that we actually instituted before COVID was teachers learning from teachers. And so our morning sessions, we had our teachers and present, volunteer to present on many topics. And we had other teachers learning from them. So the morning was very exciting. And then the afternoon, was a little different. They were grouped meetings, whether it was department head meetings or such. But I do want to say that the excitement on that Thursday was just unbelievable. Everyone was at the high school. You could hear the buzz through the hallways in between sessions. And it's really nice, the respect for their colleagues and the excitement that they're learning from each other. But more detail, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Tiger, and she's going to give us a little bit more about that day.
Yes, the buzz was great because we had to extend passing time from 3 minutes to 10 minutes between sessions. But it was amazing. So as Dr. Dory shared, it was all colleague led. We did have one community partner from our Woods Hole Partnership co-facilitate with a member of our instructional leadership. And we also had an FEF grant that 2 of our teachers had written and brought in a speaker on Breathe for Change. And throughout the day, or throughout the morning, we offered 24 different offerings over 53 different sessions. So some of our offerings were offered once, some were twice, some were 3 times, depending on registrations and demand for those offerings. And when we look through all of the feedback that we received, people have an anonymous link that they can submit feedback. Overwhelmingly are just 100% in most instances were the top 2, either outstanding or well prepared, well done. There were a couple of places where we might have gotten into a 3. I think we had one, sort of tied to the comment of, I just want to go deeper. Like I would have given this a higher number if I could have gone a little bit deeper into the work. And in 50 minutes, it's really hard for us to get to significant depth, but that feedback then tells us these are offerings that we want to look to offer a second or third of in the future. So pretty amazing. And then when we looked at some of the comments, we were really excited to see, one was, wow, facilitators preparation for this workshop was clear. Passion for the material shined through the entire workshop. And then some of them got into, I'd give it a 6 if you had an option, just more, sign me up for more. And then I would love to have additional PDs on this topic, fascinating to learn more. And one of the things that we really enjoyed was the number that said, this was really great, it gave me a strategy to use next week in my classroom, so being able to take it away and use it in preparation. And overwhelmingly, when we went through the comments about how could we improve or grow, it was about more time, more training, or repeating the sessions for more people. And we're very thankful to our facilitators who were in highest demand because they were willing to take bigger locations and co-facilitators and grow their participant group from the original cap of 30 to 50. So we could have as many people as possible without losing the ability for some small group communication and interaction in the sessions. So overwhelmingly positive, and we're incredibly thankful to all of the teachers and members of our instructional leadership and community partners who were able to come in and facilitate that. And we hope to be able to kick off PD again with that choice opportunity. So thank you.
Thanks, Sonia. School opening was very exciting. I don't ever remember a year having staff and students so happy, so glad to be back. And I think it was just extra special because it's the first year we got to start back in a normal, but just even better because of what we've gone through the last 2 years. And the excitement was really just permeated throughout every school. It was exciting to get back. So, and it still feels good this week. So we hope that'll last a while. We did have, the usual beginning. I know there were, some bus issues, some slowing down. We've had some road work, but we've also had some parents, switching or the bus stop needs to change, and all that happened. So those usual hiccups, it was back to normal. We had those. But we got through, and this week's already been much better around the busing, but we usually have that the first week. So just so you know, those kind of things are back as well. We take them very seriously. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 2 road race grants that we got. Thank you very much to the Falmouth Road Race. They always support us and help us out in projects in our schools. So we submitted 2 grants and both were awarded. The first grant was for new equipment, exercise equipment for Falmouth High School, Lawrence and Morse Pond Wellness Centers. The second grant funded new camera equipment and theater intercom system for Falmouth High School. Both grants were totaling around $34,000. So we appreciate that very much. Back to our community partners that we talked about at the beginning. Falmouth Road Race has definitely been a great partner for us. Kelly, you had asked about kindergarten registration. And so as of opening, we had 208 students. I think that was up a little bit since the last time I reported. I think it was around 180. So we're up. We're still down from last year. We had 250 students last year. I looked at the 5-year average and it's about 227 of that. So we're down a little bit. We still have 2 kindergarten classes at East, 4 kindergarten classes at Mullen Hall, 3 kindergarten classes at North, and 3 kindergarten classes at T-Ticket. We're down 3 classes and 42 students, roughly across the district. I'm going to give a full enrollment presentation on October 11th, and we'll see where we are there. October 1 is our target, where we, give the actuals on that. So, just a couple updates. I want to let you know the YMCA are experiencing staffing issues. You may or may not have heard that or read it in the news. It's happening everywhere across the country. Staffing is down in many areas, but it is also in our YMCA, and that we have wait lists at both Mullen Hall and North Falmouth because of that. We are trying to help as much as possible to find staff for them as well. Everyone, it's all hands on deck, but it's always sad when we can't offer a place for everyone that wants one. But I did want to know or tell you that we're working very hard to try to bring staffing up. Mr. Dorfman, you had asked me to report out on student placement in the fall. We went through last year with changing policy to make sure that student placement was equitable for all students. I want to tell you that I did look at all the staff list and gone through, and it is equitable across all classrooms. With regarding our employees, students, I think we got the message. We only had a handful of requests, mostly from parents that are not employees, but meeting the students' academic needs. There really wasn't a need to actually honor it. So I can say honestly that policy we carried through, and we have not. So
thank you.
Making progress. You're welcome. Just Dr. Tellier has given you a DLCS chart, but I'm not going to say another word and turn it back over to Sonia and let you.
Thank you. This is a new report that DESE just released. They're beginning to track students taking digital literacy and computer science courses. And at the same time that they released this report, they also released a high school course that students can take in computer science that also counts as math credit, and we're investigating that. But as we went in and looked at our baseline data, and this is a regional snapshot, and again, it's on the Department of Ed's website for school and district profiles. Because it's not digital, I typed the whole link out there at the bottom for you. But you can see in the blue line, Falmouth Public Schools from kindergarten through grade 6 is 100% of our students. So that's when they're going in and they're meeting with their library teachers and their DLCS teachers, and that combination and how they're looking at digital literacy and beginning the foundational building blocks of computer science and computational thinking. So huge shout out to our team of DLCS and library educators. And then as we shift and we look at the work that our DLCS team is doing in grades 7 and 8, they're really focusing on coding, and they've begun to introduce some really small drones in the programming around that. You can see that we continue within a percentage point under the 100%. And then when we get to the high school and students have the opportunity to specialize, our numbers do come down a little bit. And in part, our success here in our numbers is tied to the CBT program for computer programming and web development that we had presented on earlier in the spring, because our students start to pick if they want to move towards art or if they want to move towards music or some combination thereof. So this is our baseline data for our first ever report. Huge shout out to our library and DLCS team, but just kind of giving you the baseline and showing you where we're heading for our students.
Just ask a quick question. So at Lawrence, the numbers are super high still. And where did you say that instruction was happening? Like in the day? How
In
is
the
that getting done?
DLCS course, which is offered on the trimester. So in 7th grade, they work with Lynn O'Connell, and then in 8th grade, they're working with Kate. So there's a trimester course.
What's it called?
believe they changed the name to DLCS.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
There used
I
to
was
be a
like, I don't
technology
remember this.
course, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Andrea. So if you give me numbers, I'm gonna ask questions.
Sure.
So I think that's, that's great that we have that real strong, base in the younger grades, and then we have that drop off. I guess I'm just wondering, do you have any idea what Sandwich is doing differently that they don't have that drop off the high school level?
So maybe how they structure their core program of studies, so that could be something that we look into. We tend to mark courses in that CDT program as our CS courses at the high school. Some may do a specific digital literacy, digital citizenship type of course, or like a orientation type course, and count that. So I can study the program with that.
And thank you, that concludes my updates, unless anyone has a question.
Any questions for Dr. Dorfman, school committee? Seeing none, thank you very much. Oh, Margaret, sorry.
Just about this or?
Her update, yeah.
I'm wondering if the presentations by the faculty were video, so that they could be used, so people could see them online.
Not the individual, we did video the convocation that opened on that day, but when it came to the professional development, the individual sessions are not.
Because it sounds like they're so successful.
Yes.
And Mike, Mike has a question.
Yeah, hello. I just had a quick question about the bus thing. Someone had asked me the discussions of a GPS tracking on the bus. That was way before I was on the board. Is that something that was discussed a couple of years ago? And if so, what's the status on that? Because I know the late buses or the change in buses that first week were kind of, throwing people off, and that's when someone had asked me, so.
Thank you, Mike. So we did discuss that a few years ago. It really is up to Lucini, our company that serves our busing for the district. Many bus companies are moving toward that. There is conversation with Lucini, but we are just not there yet. They do not have them on the buses at this time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I was going back to the presentations. So with staff-led staff development, do the staff that lead the development, are they compensated for it? Like, how does that? Okay. It sounds like it was a lot of work since everyone commented on how incredibly well prepared everyone was. So I just want to make sure that they're compensated for putting so much time and effort.
Yeah, thanks, great question. Any other questions from the school committee?
I would just like to comment that, having worked in other districts, if the bus issues that we had was as few of problems as we've had, I've seen much worse. So, I would just like to say, I appreciate everybody in the community's patience. Every year in every school district, there are kinks and quirks and things to work out with routes and buses and drivers. And there's so many moving parts. And there's just almost really no way to get it right exactly in the first week. And so I appreciate folks' patience and that was even before the shortage of drivers and everything that we're dealing with now. So thank you everyone for being patient.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Next on the agenda is routine business, approved meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2022. Is there a motion? I'll make a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Andrea. Any edits? Of the meeting minutes? Seeing no hands, it will be a roll call vote. Mike Halen.
Halen, yes.
Leah.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Welch, yes.
Dorfman, yes.
Carrie Harris, yes.
Yes. Melissa Keith, yes.
What is this? What? Oh, under numbers, okay.
Sorry, I should have gone. I thought I was at that meeting.
That was the edit.
Yeah, yes, so we are going to vote that in, thank you for noticing. So we are going to vote to approve the meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2022, with the edit of adding Margaret Souza to the members list. So we're gonna vote that again, so Mike,
Halen, yes.
Leah.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Love, yes.
Joker, yes.
Sharon Ramirez, yes.
Let's keep yes.
Susan, yes?
because you're here now.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Next, committee member reports. Carrie.
If I just say 2 sentences about 2 committees. Number one, the evaluation committee is meeting tomorrow. We'll be presenting the timeline and the goals next meeting. And the policy committee is working on the roles of school committee members. I think we discussed it at our retreat this summer, so we're doing some work on that. And we thank Mary for her new leadership forte.
Mike Halen,
Mhm.
that was your hand.
All right, here I am. I just wanted to talk quickly about special education stuff. I was talking to different people and I asked a bunch of questions to Sharon Reed, who sent them back to me, so thank you for that. This summer, this was, it said there was 130 students who were eligible for ESY programs, and the school didn't have a speech pathologist all summer. So I don't know how many of those 130 didn't get services because it doesn't break it down that way. But no speech pathologist for 2 months in the summertime is detrimental and it causes regression. So when those students go to school, they're going to have extra services to make up for those missed services, which means taking them out of classroom time, which is further detrimental. My other issue is if the school does not have a speech pathologist or a location, they are required by law to notify all of these parents and then have the parents come in and make arrangements for outside services. One of the answers I received was no students received outside services. This is a huge issue and I just wanted to put it out there. I am the CPAC chair, only member actually, if anyone wants to join me, but also, we have 21% of our school population is on IEPs, and not having these services, we need to do better either filling a position or reaching out to parents and giving them their options, because I didn't know these options, and I'm sure of the 130 students who had IEPs and ESYs, many of them didn't know. So this is a huge concern of mine, and I just want to put it on everyone's radar so everyone's aware. Thank you.
Dr. Woodward, would you like to address anything that was said, or would you like to address it at a different meeting?
Yeah, I think this is true. We did have one speech language pathologist that provided some services. However, we were looking for another speech language pathologist to be able to provide all the services. And that was the one service that we were not able to provide. So we do have that tracked. Anyone that did not receive the services this summer will be the services will be made up through what's called compensatory services.
Great, thank you very much. Any other committee member reports? Andrea.
I'll just put out there that one of our newly formed advisory groups for the diversity, equity and inclusion and belonging has met a couple times now. So, and each time, since it is a new committee, it's building and people are recommending other people for it, and those people have been added. Henry has been really great at trying to identify people from all of the different buildings. Like you said, it's not just his work, it's everyone's work. And so we're trying to make sure that we have representatives from all the schools, trying to get students, we have community members, we have parents, and really to kind of get that work going. And the discussions have been so rich and so wonderful, and people are very open. And I think it's going to be a really wonderful group to work with. And just to pencil in on your calendars. The first event that we'll have coming up is going to be on September 29th, 7 o'clock in the Falmouth Public Library. And it's just going to be a forum. We're working out some of the details on that, but really it's just going to be to open that up to the community about our work.
Thank you, Andrea. Yes, and to piggyback on that, I also serve on that advisory committee, and it's just, also speaking to Henry's enthusiasm, and it fills your soul just to sit in this meeting. So thank you so much for that. And the forum, and what they do want to add to that, I want to add to that, the library is generously letting us use the Herman Room. The library itself is closed, but we will be able to access it like through the lower door. So we'll have signage. Just wanted to say that.
I said
7 to 8:30 on the 29th.
We'll give you another heads up.
Yes, we will give you another one. Just so it's on your radar. Any other committee member reports? Seeing none, requests for information. Terry.
I was wondering if we could get a list of all the new teachers we have this year, because, I mean, you just like to know who these new faces are. I don't know if Jelani has that already handy me, but.
I can actually provide you with the PowerPoint that we did at convocation, which actually has their picture in them.
Good.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah,
That's
because
super
you're, yeah, you
helpful.
see these new people. and it's-
I can make sure. Terry, did you say my name? I thought you did. Hi,
I did,
everybody.
I didn't mean to, I.
No,
know-
no problem. I'm so sorry I'm not there in person. It's primary day here in Rhode Island, and I had to make it back to make sure to vote. So that's why I'm here virtually. But yes, certainly I can work with Lori to put together a list of all of the new teachers and staff members. Is that what you are looking for?
Yes, and I'm sorry I said your name because usually I'm supposed to address Lori. I'm not supposed to signal out her staff. I'm sorry. I just slipped out because I knew you had it, so.
Yeah, no problem.
People in positions, probably would be interesting to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Since we're going to be looking at that, I would love to know where we still have gaps as well, like where we're still looking to hire. In which positions are, not necessarily like, we need a fourth grade teacher, but just in general, how many teaching positions are we still looking for? So we can beat the drum and get some good people.
Will do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I had another.
Okay, Mike, your hand is up again.
Oh.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I apologize. I just talked over someone, but could I the request for information about I don't know what the right term is, but I wanted to know if the DPW has worked with the school to make sure all the playgrounds are filled in with wood chips or that material. I know personally, if someone falls off a swing, it can be dangerous. So I don't know if that's a request for information or how I would word that, but just to make sure that all the playgrounds have the proper, fall zone stuff in them.
Great, thank you for that. And Terry.
I also was wondering, I've been reading things about, since we're all back in the group now of, not being in COVID situations, that we're not up to where we have been, where the benchmarks aren't the same. And I think Sonia, I'm sure has told us MCAS differences, but I would just wish we could hear from, if it could be an informal thing that the teachers say, where are they after a month? Are they in the curriculum, doing the curriculum that they normally do? Or, I don't know. Maybe hopefully these reports we hear aren't true that we hear in the media. Sometimes they like to hype things up to the negative. So, an informal thing, I don't want to put people to a lot of work. I'm just curious. And the teachers are with them every day. They would have a really good sense of if they're up to the curriculum that they usually are.
Anything else before I move to the next person? I don't want to cut you off, Terry.
No, I'm sorry. That's
No. Margaret.
Yeah, we have a number of students in the school system, but I'm wondering if we've lost some students and if we have demographics about the students who do leave. I think that would be helpful in terms of, I think they finish. It would be helpful to have the demographics about who are the students who are leaving the school system, and then to follow up in terms of what would be the reasons they're doing it?
So we can provide you with the
No, I
number of
was told,
students.
I was told the number, you have the number, but you never have the.
We can do demographics, what we can't do is the reason. why the reason that they leave, they don't always let us, so it is a request, but they don't always let us know. We can certainly let you know the ones that do, I can give you a percentage of the ones that answer that question and tell you what those answers are, but it's not a requirement, obviously. Provide that.
I think that.
Yeah, we can, yeah, give what we can. Okay, yeah, right.
Thank you.
To piggyback off of Margaret's question, I guess my question is, when someone does leave the district, what efforts are made to reach out to them, to follow up with them, to find out why? What aren't they giving a reason? Is it just are we just depending on them to give us the thing, or are we actually reaching out to them and asking them and trying to do almost like an exit interview to say, why, where did we go wrong, or where did you find the right answer somewhere? You know, maybe it wasn't anything we did wrong, but they just found a great opportunity. What are we doing to make sure that we follow up with every single parent who pulls their child out of the Falmouth School District? That would be important.
Everybody is smiling. This is the drum she's always beating.
Yeah,
She always wants to know, yeah.
And not to nitpick, because I'm a social worker, whoever does this should ask the question why, because why is very accusatory. What are the reasons that caused you to leave? Why is a very accusatory statement? Why did you do that? So I think the way that question is framed in the fall would be very important.
Any other requests for information? Your hand is up.
It is. So I know that we have the amazing Sarah Murphy working with Dr. Durr to get our social media and our just being our PR person. But I would like to circle back on who's doing that for the school committee. So I think it's important for the school committee to have, and again, I've been beating this drum forever as well. I think that we need to have our own, I know that we have our own social media pages, but I feel like we need to have someone managing them, whether it's one of us, whether we take turns, whether, however that shakes out, I would like to have further discussion on that.
I appreciate that, and I will turn to my goal one leads to take that on and have that conversation and flesh out ideas for us.
And that's good to put me on it, because I'm always against it, so. it's
And I'm
good to
always
see.
for it.
And then Kelly will referee. so-
That's your black and white.
Excellent, I need a whistle. Okay, any other requests for information? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. Excellent, roll call vote. Mike
Keelan,
Davis.
yes.
Settle. Okay.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Dorfler, yes.
Karen Beers, yes. And Rachel, yes.
Let's keep yes.
Kelly Kellogg was also yes. We are adjourned. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Michael in the second.